Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Dr. Hase, and today's topic is organismal biology by BSc 1011 lab, and we are going to cover labs 10 to 14, and this is a review for exam 3, which is coming next week. So let's get started. Okay, so um, lab 10 to 14, this module, which is module 3 in our syllabus, which basically is starting with Animalia, the kingdom Animalia, and we staying first 4 phylums, and then it's not the end of it. We are going to actually continue after that in the next module with the other important phylums. Animalia, basically the kingdom has 36 total phylums, but this lab only covers 9 phylums, 9 most important phylums. So there are total 36 phylums. Animalia is multicellular, heterotroph, we know, and it's much more complex. And we are going to cover 9 phylums under this. And there are clades like Metazoa, and then Eumetazoa, and then there are groups under each. So we are going to start with simplest animals to the most complex animals. We're going to start with invertebrates, and then we will cover some vertebrates later, next module. Okay, so a little more information. 95% of the animalia is invertebrates. That means the 95% of animals lack a backbone. Okay, so major phylums, we are gonna start with, again, we are gonna have 8 phylums. They are invertebrates, and we are gonna only cover 1 vertebrate phylum at the very end, very last weeks of the lab. Okay, so we have phylum 1, Porifera, phylum next phylum 2 is Cnidaria. Then we have Platyhelminthes. We have annelids, mollusks, nematodes, arthropods, echinodermata, and chordates. So these are the main phylums actually will be covered in whole Animalia kingdom. So, but here just the 4, and we are going to start with lab 10, Porifera, and Cnidaria. You can probably remember from the lab, Porifera is the sponges, and they have no true tissues. And also Animalia in general, they have the symmetry, and most animals, but except phylum Porifera, which are non-symmetrical. So you cannot cut them like a flower, or you cannot cut them like bilateral, right hand, left hand. Really, they don't have any symmetry. They are very the simplest animals. And they can be sessile. That means they're attached to a substrate and stay in all their life. That's more look like a plant. Obviously, we know this from plants. The plants are like that, but this is one animal phylum actually with no true tissues, and then not closely related to any other animals. They are this simplest animal group we call sponges, Porifera. Right, so Porifera is sponges. There are barrel sponges, boring sponges, basket sponges, vase sponges, and there are types. And then in terms of what they are made of, and mostly they go through asexual reproduction through their budding, fall off. What else? They are asymmetrical. I already mentioned that with their body is asymmetrical, and without distinct tissues or organs. Sac-like body consists of 2 layers breached by many pores. So sponge, obviously, and consists of 2 layers, many pores, internal cavity lined with the food filtering cells called choanocytes, and most are marine. There are 150 species live in fresh water. So mostly marine and mostly hermaphrodite. That means male and female on same animal, and they produce defensive compounds they can be used in pharma industry, pharmaceutical usage, porifera. So look at the, make sure that you actually look at the structure, anatomy of the classes under the porifera, right? So make sure you cover all the classes here. So there are 3 classes, Alcaraya, Hexagonata, and then Demospongia. So make sure you actually look at all 3, identify them, and then look at the species and look at the table at the end of the um, lab that actually summarizes all the things you need to know, and then their features. So very, very important. Okay. So, and you do that for the Cnidaria too. So you cover both porifera and Cnidaria. Now, next lab is lab 11, which is Platyhelminthes. So, Platyhelminthes is basically a little more higher level group of or phylum of animals. There are 30,000 of them. There are 3 classes like porifera, but different classes in this case. So they are called flatworms. Okay, so make sure you look at the classes like Tubellaria, Trematora, and Cestoda, and examples from the lab specimens. Identify classes a specimen belongs to. Make sure you actually know the class name, you know the species name. So when you're studying them, and then look at their life cycle briefly. So and they are protozoa, and we are gonna see actually more this type of animals later, and like about their clades. Now, Platyhelminthes, some important species. Make sure that you actually know these liver flukes, Chinese liver flukes, so know what they look like, and up close views, cestodas, tapeworms, and Tyanea pisiforms, which is dark tape form. And then look at the the table at the very end, and then make sure that you complete it in complete drawings, and then you review this in your lab journal. Next lab is lab 12, which is nematodes. Nematodes basically a little unique compared to some other ones. These are round worms. There are 12,000 species under this phylum. They can be free living or parasitic. One very important nematode that's actually in biology that's used as a model system is called C. elegans, which is ultimate survivor model organism, which survived actually a Columbia shuttle explosion. That's actually makes it ultimate survivor, which is C. elegans. But we learn about Ascaris here, a common intestine parasites, and they are also under nematodes, C. elegans, and then some other worms, Trichinella. We learn about dark round worms. We learn about Ascaris, most common one again. And make sure that you study the Ascaris and you know which is male and what is male and female and what are the different organs and anatomy under that. That's lab 12. The next lab is 13, which is annelid. Annelid is the segmented worms. We know annelids from fishing baits. Basically, that's what they're mostly well known. So annelids is a phylum which actually used for bait fishing. They are segmented worms. So they have segments, and they are made of these pieces that we learn in the lab. And annelid. Under the annelid, make sure that you look at structure and anatomy of different classes. We learn about 3 classes: Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, and then Hirudinea, right? So make sure you cover these. Make sure you look at the cross sections of a typical earthworm, and you know, okay, what organ is what, right? And then leeches. Very last part of this chapter is leeches, which are these blood-sucking animals that actually can be used in medicinal purposes. They let the blood out, so they contain beneficial enzymes, so they can be very useful actually in medicine. So that's lab 13, and then lab 14 is mollusks. So mollusca is very large group. These animals known with their shells and to very unique shells, and there are 117,000 of species. This is second largest phylum in Animalia. We haven't seen the first largest one. It's very much later in the semester. So there are a lot of well-known species under these. There are 6 classes that they classify these mollusks. Highly diverse. Make sure you study class names and you know their class names. And so some have actually this radula, which is tongue-like organ within the mouth with 250,000 teeth, which can make it actually cut anything very easily, also drill stuff very easily. Now, some classes are known for pearl, like oysters or mussels. They actually they excrete calcium carbonate that can become pearl, very, very valuable. So make sure that you actually study like Caterina, which is another class, genus, so that you know how it look like, squids, internal anatomy, like octopus, check that, and then bivalvia, right? The ones with the like two shells joined together, that's bivalvia, with 2 shells, like scallops, mussels, oysters. These are the most economically important class. And then an internal anatomy of a typical one of these animals, like how they look like clam. So make sure check that, and then you already look at some of the specimen in the lab, so make sure you are familiar with those specimen like freshwater clam, slug, common snail, lightning, whelk, chitin, tusk shell, and cichlid. So that's basically end of the last lab. And thanks for watching, and please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe to the channel Dr. Ross Explains. So, and see you next time. Best of luck with studying, and happy studying the material.